First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Yahweh is to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Ba'Hashem means in the name. Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's video, I wanted to go into how all 12 tribes are coming back, but it had to start with the tribe of Judah. Okay, it had to start with the brothers, right? So-called Negroes. And the reason I'm bringing this out is because there's a common label that is put upon us believers in Yahweh Shai, not Jesus, but the believers in Yahweh Shai, and that label is Black Hebrew Israelite. And the reason they say that is because they realize that a lot of the brothers were so-called black, right, dark skin. But when you go into, the whole thing of Black Hebrew Israelites, right, we are not Black Hebrew Israelites, nor do we identify as such. This label is fabricated by the powers at be in order to categorize and identify our teachings with hate. There is no such term as Black Hebrew Israelites or BHI identified in the Bible. We are the original 12 tribes of Israel, with the native tongue being Hebrew. Israelites denoting our biblical nationality, Israel, and Hebrew denoting our native language. The 12 tribes of Israel range from pale complexions to dark, rich, earthly tones. To call us black is humiliating, inaccurate, and unlearned. This is why we use the term so-called blacks, right? And that's 100% on point. And the reason, but going back to the point, the reason why they said Black Hebrew Israelites, okay, is because it was prophesied that the first Israelites to wake up was going to be the tribe of Judah, right? So the first Israelites to wake up were going to be the so-called Negroes. And after that, you would have, the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, okay, ultimately the Northern Kingdom. And let's get that in Zechariah chapter 12 and verse 7. It says, Yahweh also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah, right? Because Judah is the head tribe, right? So as a blessing, the Judites, they were saved first, which that word save goes into ultimately receiving this truth, okay, being enlightened. And if you don't know who the Judites are, here I have pictures. Okay, Judah would be the so-called Negroes. Okay, Benjamin, West Indians, Levi, Haitians, Simeon, Dominicans, Zebulon, Guatemalans, the Panamanians, Ephraim, Puerto Ricans, Manasseh, Cubans, Gad, North American Indians, Reuben, Seminole Indians, Naphtali, the Argentinians to Chileans, Asher, Colombians to Uruguayans, and Issachar, Mexicans. Okay, and that is the complete 12 tribes of Israel. Now, when you go into the sign, okay, when you go into these these nations such as Cubans, Puerto Ricans, okay, as a majority they are Israelites, right? Because you can also have some tares in there. You might have a Edomite that had a so-called black father, and that Edomite, that kid will come out looking black, come out looking dark, and he might mingle himself around dark-skinned people, and everybody might think, oh, he's an Israelite, right? But when you look at his father, nah, he's an Edomite, right? So that's why we always say, as a collective, these people are the Israelites, and collectively, it's the so-called Latinos, Negroes, and Native Americans. Now, it says that the tents of Judah were going to be saved first, right? That's why you see here in Chicago, they got a pretty big camp, when they put all the brothers on camera, right? They got this camp, they got a camp in Spanish, right? You can see that a majority of the brothers are dark skinned, right? The only really a light skinned one, okay, is this brother here in the back, which is probably Mexican from the looks of it. And, that's the prophecy being fulfilled. The tents of Judah being raised up first. And it says, the reason why it says that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah, right? So ultimately going into how when it talks about Jerusalem, you know, scriptures talk about it says Ephraim or Israel. It's talking about the northern kingdom. It's talking about the southern kingdom when it talks about Judah. Um, it goes into normally it refers to the southern kingdom as Judah. But the whole thing is that the Lord didn't want the northern kingdom to one up themselves, a boast, okay, to the Judites, okay, because when you go into the tribes, there's always been animosity between the tribes, and you can actually see that today, right? You see that the so-called Mexicans, a lot of them, don't fuck with the so-called blacks. You can see that the Latinos don't really mix with the Negroes, right? Even though they're both Israelites, they're different tribes, and that animosity goes way back. Okay, you can see that in Isaiah chapter 11. The Lord is ultimately going to take that away. And let's read this in verse 11. It says, "The restored remnant. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea." Right, and what was the first time that he recovered his people? That's going into Exodus, right, out of ancient Egypt. Okay, but he's about to come a second time, which is going to be primarily here in Babylon the Great, America. Okay, in all four corners of the earth, because ultimately we've been scattered throughout all four corners of the earth. It says, "And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth." Right, and that's going into the salvation that I just went into. And this is the point. It says, "The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim." Right, when you go into, who is Ephraim and Judah, Judah be the so-called Negroes, and Ephraim would be the Puerto Ricans, right? And it says that, Ephraim, where was I at? It says that Ephraim, is no longer going to envy Judah, right? Because the Judites are the top tribe. Okay, they were given that blessing. Okay, and all the other tribes, Northern Kingdom, they envied that. They wanted that. That's why what you see today, with the hate between Latinos and Negroes, it's envy, right? It goes way back. This is nothing new. It says, "And Judah shall not vex Ephraim," right? So Judah, so-called Negroes, is no longer gonna fuck around, bully Ephraim. All 12 tribes are gonna be at peace. So that's something I always found interesting. How these scriptures don't lie. Okay, everything that is happening in this world is already prophesied. Now, going back to the point of all 12 tribes being gathered together, let's get this in Amos chapter 9 and verse 11. It says, "The restoration of Israel. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and will build it as in the days of old." Right? When you go into what was happening during King David's rule, the tabernacle of David, that consists of David ruling all the lands around him, having all nations in subjection to him, and all 12 tribes being together. Okay, Israel wasn't divided. Okay, and right now that is starting to take place. Right, the Lord is right now closing up the breaches, going into the separation. Okay, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom brothers are now coming together, and becoming one through the truth. He said, "And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all of the heathen which are called by my name, saith Yahweh that doeth this." Okay, and one thing about this scripture is that the scripture is actually, when you go into the way you say this, I remember some so-called Christian going into how, see, the Edomites, the heathens, they are called by the name of the Lord, so that means they can be saved too. Wrong. When you go into how this is said, it's actually supposed to be backwards. Okay? Like, for example, I'm going to just go over this quickly. When you go into the Spanish Bible, and you go to Amos chapter 9, that same verse, it says, para que aquellos sobre los cuales es invocado mi nombre posean el resto de Edom y a todas las naciones, dice Yahweh que hace esto. Right, so this is the scripture we want, and when you put it in the translator, you'll find, interestingly, that in the Spanish translation, it's put in reverse. That those who are called by my name may possess the rest of Edom and all the nations, saith Yahweh who does this. Right? And who are those that are called by his name? The Israelites. Okay, and that's going into, the tabernacle of David, ruling over everything. So, I wanted to bring that out because I remember, a Christian going over this, and, it made me stumble a little bit. I wanted to know the answer as to, what he was going into. But it's just, the wording, the phrasing. But the point, Israel is being restored. All 12 tribes are coming together, and you can see that with this brother right here. And as his complexion, that's also prophesied. Let's get this in Hosea chapter 7 and verse 8. It says, Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Right? And Ephraim, going into the so-called Puerto Ricans, right, goes into where he hath mixed himself among the people, right? Because we've been scattered. And it says, Ephraim is a cake not turned. Right? And that's going into the complexion. Right? If you have a pancake and you leave it on the stove, what happens to the pancake? One side gets really dark and the other side is still light. Right? This is going into how a Ephraim is so-called black and so-called white because he's mixed himself among the people. Right? The skin complexion is on the spectrum. So, our brother right here is a perfect example of that. Right? If you go off just the skin, he looks white, so he has to be an Edomite. No. It's about the spirit. It's about, the lineage, who your father's father goes back to. So, and look at this guy. Unemployment line. Complete scoffer. Unemployment line. Look at the brothers right here. When he doesn't even know that, this brother right here, the head, Malcolma, he has his own jiu-jitsu pretty much facility. He trains. He trains other people. That's his job. His own business. Brothers all around here. I think he's a personal trainer. He got his own business. Brothers, worldwide, doing this work, got their own businesses. Got money, got houses, got nice cars, nice things. But we humble ourselves every single day, and go out there to do the work. Not caring what people say, not caring what people think, being called the fucking superhumans, or not superhumans, but Power Ranger suits, dresses. Y'all are wearing dresses. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, whether they hear or they forbear, the gospel is preached, and these prophecies are going to take place. But let's get one more in Ezekiel chapter 37 and verse 15. Reunion of Judah and Israel. That's what's happening right now. It says, the word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions. Right, and this is going into the northern and the southern kingdom. Okay, when I said earlier, it talks about the southern kingdom is referred to as Judah. That's one stick. Second, the northern kingdom referred to as Joseph or Ephraim or Israel. This is second stick. Right, when it's going into stick, that stick is going into a plank, a piece of wood, which ultimately what we're reading is the commandment to make a sign with all 12 tribes. Verse 17, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Right, so that sign was supposed to be, for a sign, for the people, to catch people's attention, pretty much like a hook, so people can start asking questions, and from there, we start expounding and breaking down the prophecy, start breaking down the sauce, the truth, the gospel. So when they ask, what does this mean? When they see this right here, a southern kingdom, northern kingdom, what does that mean? That's when you tell them, say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks wherein thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Right? Because we're going to be one. Right? All 12 tribes together. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Okay, and one thing about this right here with the sign is that it's never been documented in any history that Ezekiel had a 12 tribe sign. Okay, it's never been written. It never happened because this prophecy was future prophecy. Okay, this prophecy is taking place today. Today is when we're telling the Israelites who they are. That's the whole point of the sign, is to jog our people's memory. Is to show our people who they are, right? Because we were cast off as a nation. We were made to forget where we come from, right? So the sign is to make our people remember and to tell them, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is coming to take the children from among the heathen, and whither they be gone, and he's going to gather us on every side and bring us into our own land. Right? That's the whole point of the gospel, the good news, that the Lord is coming back to save his people from all the places we've been scattered. And that's what we're preaching right now. Okay, this video, is me doing the work, preaching this exactly. And guess what? Soon is going to take place. So, I'll leave it at that. Main point of the lesson I actually wanted to go into is that it was prophesied that the so-called Negroes would wake up first, according to Zechariah, the 12th chapter and the 7th verse. And at the end of the day, all 12 tribes are now coming together. Hopefully, this was edifying. With that, and give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rokakodash, and double honors to the other bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom, Tila, Shalom.